I feel so inspired because I was listening to you the past couple of weeks, on repeat. You have really influenced the way that I look at the piano, at music, composition. Just this moment, I was playing through Metamorphosis, which is my favorite song of yours, and there's this one thing that I've kind of stolen, and I'm never gonna give it back.
Oh man!
It's this moment where you're at a major chord, and then you go to a 5 chord, but the 5 chord isn't a dominant chord, but it's a minor flat 13 chord. And it's something that I just love this, this moment there.
Yeah.
And it happens a couple of times in this song, in F major.
Yeah, and the voicing there was kind of
Oh, yeah.
Some kind of weird voicing, I remember. Like with, like a fourth, but having the third on top.
Oh, yeah, also have the
yeah, exactly.
flat 9, huh?
I think that's. But
yes,
actually, that was kind of my my favorite part of the song.
Yes, me too.
Because
I mean, I love the whole thing.
I played this trio without Jorge with Masa Kamaguchi and RJ Miller, and I remember so well one night. It was in Vic, in a club, a jazz club in Vic. One night, I got a little bit. Can I say it here? A bit stoned,
of course,
before the gig, and I was playing this song, and I was. Why did I write this tune, man? Why there's so many chords? I was just feeling like angry with me, I was like, what's the point of writing so many chords, man?
Yeah.
But then comes the bridge, and it's like, oh, thank you, man. But the A is just like,
it's like 4 chords in the first bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like somehow they make sense, but
Totally. I want to get into this. How do you think about this? The harmonies in this song, like they're very specific.
They're kind of like a monk influenced type of harmonies with not many notes on the chords, right? In the beginning, a little bit dissonant on the. I haven't played this in years, but
yeah, like that chord.
Yes.
And then sounds more like Ellington.
I was listening a lot of Duke during those years, and I wrote that tune, and then that's a bit more like monk influence maybe, but then I also wrote Love in Tone that we did on. Did we do that on Wicca?
Yes.
With Jorge?
Yes.
And then Love in Tone got forgotten, and it came back to life thanks to my collaboration with this great singer,
Sara,
and cellist Sara,
yeah.
and she put lyrics to it, and now the song I think got much better, of course.
I've seen the video of you playing it. Sounded great.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this, what I told you before, this 5 chord, which isn't a dominant, but is a minor flat 13 chord, but functions as a dominant sound so nicely.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I took and used in a lot of my songs.
I see.
At first, subconsciously, I think, and then, of course, after a while, I said, I think I know this from Metamorphosis, because we've played this also, and I've played along with the record so much, I come to love that sound so much, how this moves back to the one without being as dominant-y as we know it from, more common kind of.
I guess it's I was gonna say it's modal, no? It's a modal movement. Like 5 can be minor, can be minor 7 flat 5 or minor. and it still feel like a 5, like a cadence chord. And what it in the end is back to voice leading, right? Voice leading, because the movement there is middle voices that move half step, one step, half step.
Yeah.
So I guess we in jazz schools we are the perspective of vertical harmony, the way I learned it, when I went to Taller de Músics in Barcelona and with other musicians just hanging out, we think of it so vertically that it's kind of wrong, no? The wrong way, like it's just voices that move. Harmony is created by voice leading, right? And it is so complex in that sense that we try to make it more simple.
Greetings. My name is Sam Amadon, and you are experiencing the Pablo Held Investigates podcast. And I am experiencing the Pablo Held Investigates podcast as I do every week. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to go so deep with Pablo and the musicians he talks to. I go back and forth between the conversation, and I'll pause and go to listen to the musical examples, and then I'll return to the conversation. It's profoundly beautiful and enriching. And if you connect with this podcast as much as I do, I highly recommend that you support Pablo on Patreon, because it keeps the podcast going and it provides a whole backdrop to a whole other dimension of the investigation. There's 2 tiers. There's a general listening podcast supporting tier, which has background materials and other stuff around reflections on Pablo's listening. And then there is a more of a practicing instrument lesson type tier, which is even deeper and more specific. I hope you support it and check it out, because these are the kinds of things that keep the world turning at this time in our universe. See you out there in the investigation zone with Pablo.
You were playing La Espuma del Mar. I remember I singing and you playing.
Yes.
Accompanying me. That was like, if I ever get more serious as a singer, I will hire you for sure.
Oh, the thing is, I love how you come for singers, so you
Wow.
are an inspiration for me in that regard. So I was probably just trying to do what you do,
No,
the way you played with
certainly.
Silvia Perez Cruz is just incredible.
Wow.
And that recording also, I would love to talk about that song also. Like, I remember we played this in duo before you sang the piece also.
Yeah, in Germany we did it.
Germany, yes,
And I just wrote it.
2017, I think, or 18.
Yeah.
It was very fresh still. Like, at what point did you think this has to have lyrics, this has to be sung?
This might be the only song that I wrote hands in hands, like each note of the melody, each word kind of came together. That's why I like this song. I like singing it more than any other songs of mine. And then, it's like a glove kind of type of feeling, and also not for my own range and for my own voice. I wrote this song in one of these moments, like a bit turbulent. Do you say turbulent?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was very fast. I did it quite fast.
At the piano
And,
or without the piano?
At the piano. Yeah. And it's funny, man. When years after, I analyzed the song, and it's all like a major scale. One of these things. Yeah.
You mean the melody,
Yeah.
if you take away all the chords?
The melody is all diatonic. The chords,
Let's look
they
into
somehow, yeah, the chords seem, yeah. That makes sense, yeah.
I'm so used to hearing this with the chords.
Yeah.
Now
It sounds like a kindergarten melody like that, no?
but I can hear the harmonies in my mind when I play the melody. That's cool. Yeah, and then it goes to the second house. Interesting.
And then it's all diatonic, and then it goes to the interlude is like a 4 minor chord in the end. Like analyzing it is just much more simple than when I wrote it. I thought like, wow, look at all this hip harmony and all this sophistication, and it's like, man, this is so. Maybe that's why it's so nice to sing, no? Because it's very, very, very simple in the end.
Yeah. The notes sort of fall into place, and there's an inevitability to each note and also to each chord. There's a the multi-layered thing going on with the harmonies, because it's a lot of inversions and a lot of chords with different bass notes. So that's also something that I'm interested in, how you think about these.
Yeah. It's funny that you talk about that. I don't think about it. It's like, as you said, you start playing it. Wow, this is kind of a hip chord, or a sounds quite interesting, sophisticated, whatever you want to call it. But it's just a major triad inverted, and it's how you say, the way harmonies move through inversions that make it sound more interesting. Yeah, so basically the harmony is kind of, right? So
Now we changed some of the bass notes, right?
I did. I just did. I just realized. But
can you play the original just for a second?
Yeah. So. Somehow played, it doesn't feel as good as when I sing it. Se puede, se tiene la vida en instantes que duelen. Y si eso es vivir, si un día la espuma del mar sin dar se posa en tus pies, ¿qué harás? Entregarás tu suerte procurando otro lugar, y un mar dormido entre sus cimas, etcétera, etcétera.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. But I, as I said, man, I play a little bit of drums, a little bit of bass, and that also was great for me to go to jam sessions and sit in on another instruments to hear what the piano player is doing, and see, wow, this pianist is really making me play better, or this pianist is just not locking in or making things that don't help, and somehow I think, wow, the day I sang and you accompanied me, I was learning so much from how we were accompanying, like just doing another part and getting accompanied by a piano player, just to understand more when you take it from another instrument, then you learn so much, no, from your own instrument, from the piano.
And also
You
this special cocktail of you having written this piece, you being a pianist, and then I'm stepping in and kind of taking over parts of your role, comping for you, and then you're
stuff.
singing.
You're always adding, bringing stuff to the table.
But the thing is, that's a delicate thing, right? You don't want to overdo it, and you don't want to interfere, but also you want to add, or I don't think adding is maybe the word that I want to use here, because there's everything. I don't need to add anything to your song. It's beautiful. It's beautiful like it is, And even if you play the harmonies, if I read the chord symbols like this, if I play them in the most basic way, it will sound great. And that's something that, it will sound great together with the melody. Like even an amateur, this is my theory, even an amateur with a great song like this could play the song and it would sound great. It would stand on its own. And that's something that's a goal that I have. And even especially more lately that I have for my own music when I write something. I used to also put a lot of things into my music, lots of things. But right now, I want to be able to write something that could stand on its own without having to add so much, without having to also play everything. Like a song
the goal,
that
right?
could stand on its most basic, bare bones type of skeleton.
Yeah. And at the same time generate a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. Where does it come from?
You saying this, like, I felt so stiff many times playing this song, because you get, when you write particularly like a song where you sing and you have lyrics, then you especially if you are not like a professional singer, like I think I'm getting looser and getting better as a singer, but still you can get really stiff. So playing it like that, trying to be, this is the way I recorded it and this is the way I want to play it each time, it doesn't really work for me anymore. It's like I rather have you taking risks and bringing, because you know the song, and you know where it lands and where it's going, and there's places where you can change things,
that's important. Those are important points in the song where you kind of where does it land, where do we arrive something, where are we going some place, and in the moments where we're going somewhere, maybe those are moments where we shouldn't add so much, because it's part of a journey to arrive at some place. And when you arrive at that place, we can maybe, that's how I think about it, I think. But also it's like trying to understand the harmony and look at it from different ways. And that's the nice thing that with those major 6 chords or minor 6 chords, there's so many ways to look at them, I think. Like if we do the reverse of what Monk showed us in terms of a minor 6 chord, a half diminished chord is just a minor 6 chord with the 6 in the bass. Just doing the reverse of that can give us a nice opportunity to look at a minor 6 chord now, and still we get that sound, stuff like that, I think. And that's so nice about this song, because it offers so much freedom in that regard, because the chords, you can look at them in the most basic thing, how you did it, how you reduced it at the beginning, but also you can open it up.
I'm looking forward to do that, actually. Next time I do it, I've been doing it, and it's been getting more open, actually.
It sounded great when you just played it.
With Sara singing it also, Sara Dowling.
But when you started singing, or now in your process, tell me about the realizations that what do you think a singer needs when you are comfort? What do you need actually? I mean, it's nice to know what you're inspired by also, but what is like the basic thing that you need and that you're looking for when somebody comes for you, or you come for yourself?
uh, I need to be listened to, I guess, to the people to not be ahead of me, I guess, most of the times, no, to be, which is something that any instrument play, any improviser or anyone who's playing a melody. I don't know if you know Hal Crook. You know Hal Crook.
I don't know him well,
great.
but I know the name and I want to get into it.
Yeah, well, he's an amazing musician, and he's been a teacher in Berkeley, Boston for many years, for many people. He's like a guru, you know, like a really great teacher. And when I went to Boston, Berkeley, Boston, I was a bit lost because I didn't feel like what am I doing here, kind of a little bit. I didn't yet know the musicians that I would be playing with for a few years over there. So I was a bit thinking about maybe going back to Spain or maybe quitting and going to New York and see what happens. But I didn't even speak English, so it was a bit a mess. But then I met Hal, and Hal told me, come and play a session with me, because he heard a tape that I gave him a tape from a concert I did, and I guess he liked it, and then he asked me to play a session with him and two other students that were really good, and we started playing, and then every 3 seconds he would stop and would tell me, don't do that, like don't anticipate my melody, don't play my leading tone of the melody, don't do that, like just really trying to school me with accompanying. He's also a great piano player, and so that's just to say a story about how that stuck with me, like never anticipate whoever's got the melody, don't anticipate it for him, or don't play that leading tone that he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That's what if I'm singing a melody, I don't want the piano player to be like, hey, or you know.
Yeah, makes sense.
Here's how it goes, no?
Yeah.
But then sometimes you need the piano player to be assertive and give a good downbeat, so you can. So basically, they have to know the music that we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and being an accompanist is like setting up the ground for the singer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not easy, right? To do to be know the play with good sound, play with good rhythm, and anticipate what's happening, but not give it obviously, but follow so many things for any instrumentalist, right? I mean, you might have a lot to say about this too. So
I was just thinking that this comes down to empathy. You know, being able to feel with somebody. And I remember a moment when I was going to this was kind of a pre-college situation for studying jazz, and I just arrived there and was super green, didn't know anything. But there was one of the combos that I went to was with a singer and an older teacher, and just that moment is kind of ingrained in my mind, and it's not special. It's not even like mind blowing or anything, but for me it was a big moment when I was comping for the singer, and it was a rubato intro to a standard, or maybe the verse or something. Maybe it was the verse of a song. And the way that this teacher gave me a small pointer like that was so special, because he did it with giving me confidence by saying, he stopped me for a moment and he said something like, don't get ahead of the singer. You know how to listen to the singer. You know, you can feel it, right? When the melody comes, you can do it, right? I know you can. And I didn't know that I can do that. But in this moment, he gave me this confidence. And maybe I kind of, maybe I was bullshitting also when I then thought was, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, sure, I can do it. But just hearing him say, no, I know you can feel this, was a great way to teach, I thought, just giving me this little confidence. And then actually in my mind, I kind of imagined that I could, and then I did, then it was easier.
That's a skill.
Yeah.
As a teacher.
I was just talking about this phenomenon that you talked about of these days, for the most part, the teaching ethic has become a little bit more, a little less frontal, a little less, I'm the teacher and you're the student and just do what I do. But what sometimes gets lost, I think, is a person like Hal Crook for you who says, no, don't do this. Don't do this.
And he was venerated, he like a Hal, because he wasn't mean on anything, no? He was just very, very dry and direct, but then he was passionate about it, and then we need this kind of teaching, no?
Yeah, but I feel like sometimes I don't have the guts to do it. Although I might feel like saying to a student, please don't play this voice. Or, or
I mean,
no,
we're learning
stop.
also. You have kids, and I do too, and I'm learning every day just how to tell them things, and please don't do this, don't do that. But how do I say it? Sometimes I see it doesn't work because I am kind of angry at them. That never works.
Well, the easiest way is to be an example, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, well, as you say, that being an example, like the situations where I think I learned the most was with people that never said anything, but was exactly just very, very, like I the first great musician that I got a chance to play a lot with was Perico Sambeat, and I was like 17, and I would go to his house a lot every week, and he would just play sessions duo with me, and he would never really tell me anything direct. He was just like, just giving me time to mature, to grow up, but being there and just playing was like just we of course he can see that I was like totally passionate about this. I was so in love that it's even worse to say something to somebody when it's like such a passionate person and young, and everything is being absorbed. You don't want to maybe talk too much, because you might make this person think too much or ruin his direction in some way, So when the thing is moving, no matter what, like in your case, or when people that are really passionate about this, then I think it's also good to notice that, wow, maybe I shouldn't, this person is going to do fine, just let's just play with him or her, and if they ask any questions, then you answer, but I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, what were the questions that you asked Perico?
I just remember playing and just being quiet and recording with my Walkman or something.
Yeah.
And just yeah, I would say, I mean, is this okay? And he was, I don't know, this voicing, maybe, but whatever. He's very, I mean, Perico also is quite, he's very quiet, he doesn't speak a lot. So, but he's very sensitive. He's there, it's like, I also really appreciate that,
Do you remember questions that you asked Hal Crook?
I mean, he just destroyed me on that session. He really, really, like, it was painful. He did like for 30 minutes, he would stop the band and just tell me, no, you are not playing this voice, you cannot play. Like, just very, very, he had a purpose of that. And then he stopped, and we just played a few tunes, and he relaxed, and he had a great time. He probably said, like, oh, enough, let's just play and hear him play. And then I got into his ensemble, and I have really bad memory, for these things, but I remember just him saying, how long can you wait to play the next phrase, on your solo?
Yeah.
And that's actually, maybe Lee Konitz also, that's like something I saw Lee Konitz doing. You can take so long, especially if you're a piano player and you are comping for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you are grooving with the other people in the band, if it's locking with the rhythm, you can take very long without playing the next phrase, no?
Yeah, that's great. That's good to hear.
No?
Yeah, I've heard you do this on records.
Yeah. Well, when it feels good, then you can. I also feel that sometimes some players that play a lot, maybe they play a lot because they got used to play with bad rhythm sections or something, because they feel like they have to fill up the space all the time. So I don't know if that's the case, but
I feel like I'm usually more on the side of people who play too much. That's my preposition, and I'm working against it.
And what do you do to work against it? How do you
like
just
forcing myself not to play, like pushing away the hand? But I really like this.
Man, I think you got the great balance. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, thank you. No,
because
I'm trying.
I saw you playing the other day in Valencia. It never felt at all like you were playing too much.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I was going to say, like, in a place like Jimmy Glass, which is super dry, I feel like I'm playing more notes than in a big hall where you can just play one note and let it ring and have it fill the room, And also another factor for me to play too much is if I don't like the piano, the sound of the piano, I try to escape it by not. I mean, it's a mistake basically, but it's like not settling into the sound by just then quickly going to the next note, Whereas with the great piano, you can just feel like, and this can also be a trap, of course, sometimes where you go like, this sounds not so nice, And then if you listen back, you think, I can hear you enjoying the sound so much, but you're not playing anything, you know?
Yeah. Jimmy Glass is as raw as it can get, right?
Yes.
Very
raw piano.
That's why we also love it in a way, We love it there somehow, It
was super loud also. Like the club was super, a lot of amplification for a small club like this. Yeah, it seemed to me like piano was super loud.
I have to say, you guys had the like more natural sound than what it usually is, because I believe Robert wasn't using the amp. Maybe he was playing acoustic.
I think he used a little amp, but we were certainly talking to Chevy about not having so much on the system. Because a thing that is always important to me is how I mean, I'm not playing stadiums or anything, but I still will want people to hear the sound of the actual instrument, to hear that more than the amplification. I think that's more important, especially for the music that we're if we're playing acoustically, I want the people to hear Robert's string from the bass. Of course, he uses the amp. He might be a little on the system, but I want the people to hear the actual instrument first, and then maybe a little amplification as possible. That's basically what I say to most sound people. I was watching and rewatching a lot of videos of you with Lee Konitz at Jimmy Glass, with you and Jorge and Masa Kamaguchi, and you sounded so great together. And also, I was so touched to hear Lee singing, the way that he sang those tunes. I think Body and Soul, I listened to like 4 times this morning on repeat because it was hitting me so hard. Because I know you did this masterclass on singing. I'm curious what this experience with Lee, who sang a lot, did to you.
This is the first time I ever played with him, the only time, I played with him. So he's one of my number one heroes in music. So I was just this, I don't remember, I just was like in a dream state, kind of like just being there and trying to not get on the way too much, of him, because I feel like it's he might get annoyed. He gets annoyed quite normally,
Yeah.
We had dinner the day before and with Chevy, and Chevy doesn't speak English, so I was doing the translation, and we had to go to different restaurants because he was annoyed with the music in the restaurant, stuff like that, And then he was lovely guy, but then a mix of,
he had specific needs, and
but also really funny. So I was during the whole concert just trying to not get on the way too much. And I remember Jorge just telling me, man, just go for it, kind of like he's played with him more, and just don't get shy, don't be shy. And Masa was also very attentive. I remember Masa playing quite simple for what he usually plays,
Yeah.
So somehow we found like a sound immediately, with Jorge. It's impossible to not find the sound.
Yes.
He plays 2 notes, and then you are like, oh wow, everything sounds good right away,
Yes.
And then I think he had a good time, but something about that saxophone that someone lent him, he traveled without his saxophone. Maybe that's why he sang most of the concert. And then many people in the audience, I think, was annoyed that he's not playing the saxophone much. Perico told me, man, he sang more than he played. And I was like, man, I loved it. It was raw,
very similar,
most pure.
right?
Yeah. And without mic. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But he could make himself be heard. We could hear him. So it felt like the most authentic thing, for me. Just unpretentious. Just like playing a session at someone's place. And adventurous, and at the same time very, very down to earth and pure. Very inspiring. Yeah, I want to watch this again, as you said that.
Yeah, do it. It's so great. It's so great. Also, like, it made me. I was watching this, and then I felt like, okay, let me also try to sing more. And I was walking through the apartment, doing things, singing, soloing over Body and Soul. And at first I found it hard, and then I thought of Lee and what kind of syllable he used, which at first might seem a little bit weird. But he always went, do 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 do. Yeah. Somehow
Yeah.
it makes you having this do 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 do. It makes you access, or at least me, access the pitch more easily than just be
Yeah.
having this do, which also connects to the way he phrases. Oftentimes,
Yeah.
after a while of hearing this recording repeated times, the moments when he took the horn and went from singing to the horn, it was seamless, and it kind of made sense why he chose the syllable. Sometimes he did do he, instead of do
Do-we?
di,
Yeah. A
instead
do-ya?
do he yeah. Those were kind
Yeah.
of the syllables, the grammar that he was using, and it totally locked in with the way that he usually plays.
Yeah.
And
So
also,
yeah, it's
what I told you about what I like about La Espuma del Mar is like there's an inevitability to this melody that you found, and that's something that is also in Lee's playing when he improvises or plays a
I think it has
variation
to do. Yeah.
on Body and Soul. It sounds like this has to be like this. It should always be like this,
Because the inevitability of saying words, like you can say a phrase in many ways in words. I'm speaking, right? And if your playing is related to talking, to phrases, to speaking, then it's inevitable, no?
Mm-hmm.
It's connected to our most direct connection, which is verbal.
Yeah.
So I believe that when he improvises, he's talking, no?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of related to what you said about the jazzinheaven.com class that I did on singing. It wasn't about singers, it was more about improvisers using the voice as a tool to play, to connect more and play more musically. So when you mentioned the inevitability of the song is, yeah, because it has words. If it didn't have words, I would probably have done more notes or different phrases. But if I say se puede, that's
That's
se
how
tiene. It's
exactly.
it's so that's also why I also somehow I started, not that I do it all the time. I don't consider myself a songwriter, but I try to write songs because I also feel like it teaches me, it keeps me inspired to be a better musician, just to think about words and text in music, in lines. Because
Can't get more directed like this,
yeah, so I think it may I mean, Lee, he's always like talking.
Yeah.
And on piano, of course, piano is not like when I started practicing, I always felt a bit frustrated with piano because it is so direct, so cold. So to feel more connected to the voice, I always practiced singing the solos, singing every note I play. And then I got obsessed with Kurt, and I saw, wow, Kurt is doing it. And he does it all the time. He's also, he even has a microphone, right? So I was really into that also.
Yeah. That also made me sing along with the lines. And it also felt like when we do this, oftentimes it shows you the extent of how good you can hear,
Yeah.
Sometimes I might play something different than I was singing, and that gives you a clue, like, man, you're not listening to your ideas, what's really inside you. You're more used to what's in your fingers.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
how can I improve? Because that's something that you do greatly in this little segment. I think you play what is this thing called Love, right? Was
oh,
soloing over what is this thing called
on
Love?
that video, on that
Yeah, there's a
masterclass.
little teaser video out there. Maybe it's another song. Anyways, you're comping for
Yeah.
yourself, and it's in time, and you're logging in. And my whole problem is when I do this, I'm so used to trying to play what I hear that I can't do anything else on top. You know, if I'm hearing the line, I want to play it, because I worked so much on being able to play what I hear, that I have to kind of play this. And how can I liberate myself more that I just can come and doing rhythmical things for the accompanying that are different from the rhythmical things when I'm singing then.
I just enjoy myself. Like I have a great time just singing solos alone.
Yeah.
Sometimes just yeah. So I just love doing it without the piano. Then I guess that's that's what makes it more easy to do, because I'm used to just singing. Or maybe I guess just imagining like big band arrangements, like. But you also play drums. You can also. You have a drum set at home?
No, not anymore. I sold it when I was 10 to buy a gaming computer. Because that's what my value system is. Yeah, I stopped playing drums really. I mean, I come from drums. I started playing drums and then I switched to piano when I was 10. But the drummer is still in my mind. But when I sit down, I have a lot of ideas, but I can't execute any of them because, I mean, I think I have some sort of feel maybe, but I don't have any technique. I don't know rudiments. I know nothing, So there's a lot of things that I can imagine playing, and I study drummers. I listen to them and I think about how they do it. I can't do anything really.
Yeah, man. You know how I just heard a recording you did with Billy Hart. So there's some moments like a boom that you guys are Billy Hart and you sound amazing together.
That was just one day, one recording, and before that I had a little trio session with him, just jamming and working on the songs that we were about to record on this album of the trombonist Christoph Schweitzer. And just being with Billy was so special. Have you played with Billy?
Yeah, just 2 concerts only.
Wow, which setup was this?
Javier Bercher and Jorge Rossi. They had a double. They were the band leaders, and I think it was Massa. Yeah, and we did one gig in Valencia and one gig in Italy. But I remember just I didn't know Billy at all, and we were soundcheck. In the soundcheck, I kept moving the piano, the grand piano.
Why?
Just thinking, I want to see everyone, and then I want the sound to project this way. And he was sitting in the audience during soundcheck, just sitting there, not setting up the drums or anything. And I thought, well, I'll just keep moving the piano. And then I stopped, and then he went up and started setting up the drums. And then I think I moved the piano again for a little bit. And then Massa told me, Billy told me, man, what's wrong with this kid, he was waiting for me to be finished so he could play the bass drum in the spot where he thinks the bass drum has to be locking with the end of the piano, and in kind of a match, like triangle, like aligned. He had it all thought of about. He has a place where the drums has to be, and I didn't know, so I really bothered him. And wow, it was like teach me a lesson. It's like yeah.
Wow.
But it was incredible playing with him. I really loved it.
Such an energy, right?
Energy and openness. Like he was there for you. Like fire is there.
Yeah.
And you never know when it's gonna explode somehow. It's like, I don't know. It just felt like very young energy. I loved it. Kind of like Al Foster, but different, very different.
I felt like he was like holding your back like this when he was playing the right cymbal. He's like, come on, Pablo, play, give us something. And then he would give us something, and then you could play with that. And also, in difference to a lot of young drummers, or a lot of the drummers out there right now are doing so many stuff, and the way that he does stuff is like he's offering that for a while and executes one idea for a period of time, usually in sync with the form of the piece. So while he's offering things to work with, and while he's pushing the band, he's also marking the form, playing the form of the tune. So there's never really stuff that starts on the end of 2 of bar 3 and goes until bar 17, stuff like that. It's usually, and it never sounds like formulaic or, okay, let me do this for 8 bars, but it kind of, it's very, very, he's playing with the form in a very creative way.
Yeah.
And that was a big lesson for me.
Yeah. I was just thinking as you said that since he as you say he plays, if you look it from the distance, it's kind of obvious form wise, but then since he has this sound that it's neither like super straight ahead 1950s, but it's also modern, it's also rockish. It has like a sound, the sound, when you hear like someone with such a personal sound, then I feel like somehow if they play super obvious and simple, it's still gonna sound super hip, because people that have like a personal sound or a characteristic sound, no matter what they do, they will come out fresh, or somehow. I don't know. That's just a thought that came to my mind. But
yeah.
I don't know
It
if
totally
that's
makes
true,
sense.
but
So Jorge was playing vibes on this project?
yeah. It was Javier Bercher, Jorge, Massa, and Billy.
Wow, I want to hear this.
It was Jorge's and Javi. They have a record together.
I
Really
have
nice
the
record.
record, but I don't think Billy is on that record. Or you?
No, they it's duo, and they play a bunch of instruments.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Jorge is also playing marimba and all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. One of the things that I also admire about you is like, and I often show students examples of this, like when I show the way you play standards and play within this type of environment, I show you as a great example of someone who has absorbed the language of this music so thoroughly that you can be free within it. There are a lot of cats out there who, they have spent a lot of time seemingly with the history of the music, but they sound like somebody who works in a museum. Just shows you. Here we have Dexter Gordon from
I know what you
1946,
mean. Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
but you sound like somebody who could easily hold a lecture about these people, but you have personal thoughts about it. You have absorbed it, and you can tell your own stories through the knowledge of this music. And that's one of the things that I admire about you. Yeah, can you please talk about this and elaborate a little bit what your process is
Man,
of
thank
learning
you.
this
I mean,
music?
there's so much for me to learn from the masters of this music, and I still listen to. I was just re-listening. I got a CD player again, finally again, to listen to my CD collection, because I quit Spotify. I
Good.
stopped paying the subscription, and so I'm listening back to CDs, and I love it. With my kids, let's just put a CD and play ping pong or something,
Yeah.
do stuff. So just re-listening modern jazz quartet like crazy now, and this Concord, one of the,
I don't know it.
I think it's the first record with Connie Kay. It sounds incredible. So I just keep listening the times I have time to listen, of course, as you know. But I think going back to your question, I was just, do you know Tony Glaucy? I think maybe I told you about him. He's an amazing trumpet player from New York. He's from Oregon, but he's a fantastic player. And so he's got a big connection with Spain. He's been coming here a few times, and we played. And I was just telling him, man, so in New York, who do you like to play with? What are your favorite piano players? And he said something like, I play with such and such piano player because I know there are some amazing players, but some of them, they feel like they have to play in a certain way. They are, to me, a bit stiff in terms of they have to cover a certain expectations of them. So I don't know if that answers the questions. Like I always felt like the minute I feel like I'm supposed to play in a certain way, I just see myself such a liar. I feel like this is not me, this is not, I'm not being myself. So I try to feel like I'm myself all the time when I'm playing. And the very minimal thought of like thinking, oh, I'm supposed to be playing in this type of, I'm playing with these cats, so I'm supposed to play this way. Well, that doesn't work. I don't think it works for me. And for maybe in Spain, since jazz was like came much later than in other countries in Europe, maybe we have like a different we don't have a very academic scene or old school or straight ahead scene, like a very strong straight ahead. It's like people are kind of always just been playing what they can, we do what we can here, and somehow maybe that helps to be a bit more open in that way. I don't know, just like I also like to, if I'm playing with like more like flamenco musicians or something, I try to bring some bebop into it, because because I feel like I don't want to try to play like Paco de Lucia on piano, man. I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
So I will sound somehow somewhere in between, but as long as it's spontaneous and I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah.
But I feel like I can see some people are a bit more because their upbringing or the scene that they grow up in, they feel like they have to play in a certain way
Yeah.
to be called by certain musicians.
Yeah.
The minute you start playing different, they might not call you. But here in Spain, you know, I mean, I guess the scene is quite mixed up. I don't know. And in many countries it's like that, you know, mixed up. You know, but I can see the other way around. Like, you know, in New York, maybe you play with this type of music, and that's the way you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that answers the question in terms of the personality aspect, and you know, I can totally relate to that. That sometimes if I'm called for certain thing, and I even get the sense that I'm expected to play in a certain kind of way, that already also puts me in a box. But I'm also very capable of putting these boxes around me and then really struggling with that on my own. But what I'm also interested in, and this is maybe the second part of this question, is like, yes, there's the personality aspect. What do you like to play? Where do you feel comfortable? But there's also the aspect of how you internalize certain kind of language, grammar, things that make sense. And what separates you from those people who just recite what others have done? To me, you're free in this language. You can say your own things, but it comes from somewhere. And I'm interested in how you internalized things. My only suspicion is, like, if we look at things just one way, we have one way to apply a certain melody, harmony, rhythm. But there's always so many things to look at one specific thing and take it, you know, really take it apart, and thereby finding a personal entry point, which is maybe more compatible with our personality. But we have to do this work, I think, and I'm interested in your process in this work, because to me it sounds like you're doing this.
Yeah, for me it's hard to answer, because what you say, I think the way that freedom when I play, that's something that I feel like it came up kind of naturally, so it's hard to explain myself about that. But I certainly spend a lot of time just playing alone, playing tunes alone, and just having fun playing, discovering things in a intuitive way. I don't know how to put it clearly.
Did you do a lot of transcription?
No.
Okay.
I didn't do a lot of transcript. I could maybe say I did like 10 transcriptions, 15 maybe. But of course I took out phrases here and there from people, and wow, let's try this. But more than copying a phrase note by note and playing exactly with the record, I would be like, I'm just gonna play this tune and see how it would sound, McCoy could sound on this, and think, I think this sounds like McCoy. Wow. And now this sounds like Herbie, or you know, like just like kind of like having fun, like mimicking. Fantasy. It's a fantasy, right? Mimicking and living this fantasy. I'm also, it's bad for me to say it, but I like to do impersonations. You know, I don't do it as much now, but I earned my money, my first 2,000 pesetas when doing impersonations of people when I was 10 or something. So it's something that I guess comes, you absorb it and then it's there somehow, and then you just mimic, so yeah, of course I do it for fun. I lately, I kind of, I wasn't a big Chick Corea fan for many years, because I always felt like I like more other, like, somehow I feel like he took a lot from McCoy and made it more commercial in a way. That's how I felt for many years. I wasn't that into it.
And what changed?
And something has changed. What changed, is that I feel like Chick is very close to the way I play, in a way. I sometimes I naturally sound a lot like Chick. So now I'm writing some stuff that might sound like a bit like Chick.
Do you want to play
and
a little bit?
Let me see. I'm writing this bulería. Super Chick, no?
Yeah, but also super Albert. Super Albert. I love this, because sometimes leaning into
very tiki.
Yes. You can hear the clockwork. And also the phrasing. It's compatible to your phrasing, or there's a link there. But I think sometimes leaning into a certain kind of inspiration or perspective can show us new things about ourselves. And if we don't lean into it, we wouldn't go as far, and thereby not experience something new, because we say, no, that's Chick. No, I'm not gonna go there.
No, I mean.
But hey, what happens if you go there? Maybe you will still be Albert, but what happens is you find new things. Like, oh, I've landed in this new place. Let me get all the nice fruits and take it back to my world.
It's funny that I got into Chick because of the flamenco things that he's done with Paco and with Jorge Pardo. That's how I got into it,
Yeah.
It's funny, no? That not through his jazz records.
Yeah. But what happens now if you listen to those records, the jazz records?
I love it, man. I just got my CD again from Now He Sings, Now He Sobs. I love it. I mean, I love it also because Roy Haynes, that trio. But
yeah, the same thing you said about Billy Hart, having a sound that is compatible with Sarah Vaughan, and did he also play with Louis Armstrong? I'm not sure, but Charlie Parker, but Chick also. Like, how can you bring all of this together, or how can he also plays a lot of free stuff on this record? And how does it? The sound isn't entirely different than when he plays with Sarah Vaughan.
Yeah.
How can this live in one world? And sometimes, like a boxed mindset can tell us, no, these are totally different worlds. But no, I think not to Roy Haynes. Nice song, man. Are you finished with that?
Kind of, yeah. I think so. And then I just wrote like a tune that maybe Chick has some influence too, because it makes me think of the children's songs that he wrote.
Do you want to play it?
I just wrote this one. It's quite. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's one of these things. Like, is this good or is this bad? I can play it for you a little bit. etc., etc.
Great.
It sounds kind of like a bit like that vibe, no? Like children's song.
Yeah, but also I also think, Bartok. I had to think of Bartok, but I also had to think of Satie. There's these more in the later part of this tune. There's these more open sounds, where you can't really say this is minor, this is major. What is this? It's open. Exactly. It's a vibe. This reminds me of Satie.
And this section, that it's kind of one of these things that it might happen to you, is like something that comes, you write it and you are totally unsure if this is total bullshit or it's like, but then I thought like, let's add this bullshit moment that is going to make us, because I am also thinking about the moment where we play with the band this music. I want a moment where it could be minor, major, dominant, whatever. You just play whatever you want on top of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like some harmony that, I don't know if you, when you write, you think about these things. Like, I want to have something. You were talking about this before, about the bare bones of a composition that can just playing that sounds good, but that also can generate some ideas to play on top, to be free on top of that. How do you, when you write, are you thinking about what's going to happen on stage with your band? And
sometimes, but sometimes also it hinders me, prevents me from going to certain places. So some songs, I don't know where and when they will end up. Some songs I know what I'm going to do with it. Some songs I have the same feeling like you, where I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know, but I enjoy working on it. Mm-hmm. The more you I've come to realize, tap into this, let me just work on this and not think about the outcome.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the process as much as I can. After a while, you will end up kind of liking it, even if it's like a step for you into a direction which kind of feels awkward or not you, whatever, your idea of you. Just enjoying that process. I've written this little thing that I play for you, because I've been, the previous interview a recent interview of mine was Ashley Kahn, and he reading about his view on Alice Coltrane kind of made me return to Alice Coltrane's music, and kind of I've entered this new stage of admiring her. When you get back to an artist after a while, you have already admired that person, but a new perspective unlocks a new kind of level of where you can take in the music. So I was inspired by her music and checked out a lot of records, and then I just sat at the kitchen table and said, let me write something and think of her. And so this is Ode to Turia.
Turia.
So
Yeah.
the harmony is quite
Wow.
different from what I usually go for or often go for, I feel, just from my own perspective. So I had to give in to these more simpler harmonies when I was writing them down. But was what I was hearing when I was thinking of her. And if I wouldn't have thought of her and the inspiration that I got from Alice Coltrane, I wouldn't have been able to write this song, I think. And at first,
It
it took
sounds
me a
really
while
cool.
to like it. It took me a while. And then I gave into it. And then I could also, that changed the way I played it, because if you don't like something, there's something that pushes you away from the music. And if you give into it, then you have to really hear this melody. You have to celebrate the melody. You have to celebrate the harmony, celebrate the vibe. And now I'm just celebrating it, not because I like my song so much, but because I'm happy that her music had this effect. And I could also show my admiration and respect in this song.
That's an amazing song, and as you said, it's different from what we are used to hear from you. But it's funny that the other day on Jimmy Glass, you played also another celebration song, which was one like you also, when you introduced it, you said it was also dedicated to someone, or
Yeah, what did we play?
it was anyways, it made me also think like, wow, Pablo is doing some, going into a different direction, and I really like this because I don't know, I feel the warmth and
Yeah.
how do you say,
What is
the
this?
humming, it's there in the song.
I've never thought of this, but in great music that has strength and inevitability and meaning, there's a humming going on with me also when I listen to it. I'm like, whoa, yeah, cool, wow.
It made me think also what you said, that my mother, she's an actress, but more than that, she's a singer and a songwriter. And we are doing like a show in very soon. Will be almost a month in a theater in Madrid. And she's doing her songs, and I play for her. But she has a big monologue, the history of a woman that had to go through a lot of trouble, and in the songs explain the history of this woman that she's interpreting, and she's been wanting to do this for a long time, but now that she is impersonating someone that is almost her own life, but it's not exactly her, now she's free to become that person. And I'm explaining this really bad, but basically what I'm saying is that if she was doing the songs and then telling the history of her life, it would be much more difficult for her to be on stage doing that, instead of doing through the character of another person, doing the same feelings that she's feeling through a different character. By this, what I want to say is that if you write something, you offer this song to someone, or you are thinking of someone in it, and then somehow it's not completely, it's not about you so much, it's about something external, bigger, or a different person, it always, I think it brings out, somehow it makes us get into the zone easier, at least to me it helps, to write something for someone or the lyrics of someone.
Yeah.
It's like
just also
I feel like I'm sharing the stage with someone, and we
Yeah.
are doing this together with someone else. It's not you alone, no?
Yeah, I'm thinking of it as escaping the prison that we've built for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have this idea about, this is what my music should be like, and these are the certain things that need to be intact for my music to be selfish bullshit,
Yeah.
basically.
Bullshit, yeah. It's just the world we live in, no? We are kind of a bit isolated. The way I mean, some other cultures they do music together, no? It's a collaborative process all the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. Like samba or choro or Brazil or or flamenco. It's like it's not flamenco doesn't have it has some composers, but it's like mostly like this person singing lyrics that been there for 1,000 years, and this other guitar player just bringing the things together, and there's no composer. It's like a collaborative thing, and it's normal that we feel in a prison.
Yeah. So
Especially piano
ongoing
players, no?
process. Yeah, what's up with that? What's up with piano players?
During the pandemic, I was like, wow, this is not that bad, man. I can play. I'm going through all this shit, man. Like I'm finally going Mompou.
Yes.
I'm finally reading some music. I found this. This is on my wife's home. This is a Beethoven sonatas.
Yeah.
But from the 30s, and I opened the book, this very old book, and I find like papers from. Do you want to go to Alfred Cortot master class in Paris? It's amazing, man.
Wow, it's her mother's.
Her mother bought it in like a second-hand shop.
I see. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, so talking about piano players, like we are happy just alone with the piano, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to get
Yeah, I
into this new album that you made.
Oh,
It's so great. And there's another
Thanks, man.
thing where I can see the love for a certain kind of, for an artist. I hear the love when I hear this music, but I don't hear the museum aspect that we talked about
Oh.
before. I hear a personal view on it, and I'm interested in the way that you balance these two things. Like you have the respect, the immense respect and curiosity to do the necessary research to not just scratch the surface, but to go deep. But then you also add the personal without making it in your face, It's like, here's my spin on, Louisa or whatever. No, it's like, it's how it goes in hand. It's so seamless that sometimes, even with the songs that I know, which I didn't know all of the songs on here, but some of them I knew quite well. I was like, is this part of the original song, or is you know what I mean? And when I went back to listen to certain songs, it's like, oh, okay, so it actually wasn't part of this song, but you made it sound like it's part of the thing. That's the balance that I admire when somebody tackles somebody else's work,
First of all, as you said, the love, you hear the love. So, when if you play, like, for example, Luisa, and you love this song I remember having the LP and hearing Jobim sing this when I didn't even play music. I was just I wouldn't dare changing a note of that, because it's just like, I mean, not I don't mean it in a way of I wouldn't dare, like I'm afraid of. It's just like I'm just gonna do what I heard for many years naturally. You know, I'm not gonna even think about changing it. But it's gonna come out personally, because each person is a different instrument, and I'm not Portuguese. I have my accent. I'm gonna put my own piano chords underneath. Then there's an arrangement of cello that Sara made. So all these details put it in a different. They already make the song sound ours, I think, no. But we are not particularly doing anything much, you know. Just we're just a vehicle
Yeah.
of the song, and just trying to sing it as good as we can. And
That's interesting, because for a lot of people, oftentimes the song is the vehicle.
the song is the vehicle to do other
Yeah.
things. You mean?
Yeah. Whereas here
Yeah,
you
well,
say you are the
we
vehicle that,
interpret.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And if anything, if we can add anything, then of course there's always places to add, but they will come naturally, no? I think. And then, for example, the one that I remember I could maybe say something about on this song is Aguas de Marzo, the most iconic song, no? He wrote maybe once Elis Regina did the version with him. So that we were trying it at home, and we were like, but we are not gonna do the same. I mean, there's no point of us trying to pretend. So I just thought, like, Sara, why don't you just let's just say it, and say the lyrics out of time. Let's have a conversation with the song, which is what they do. Let's see what that brings us, you know. And that felt like, oh wow, the song is there. We're having fun doing it. We have a conversation, and we are being ourselves. We are not pretending to be Tom and Ellis. So that's, I remember the process there, like, you know, just like é pau, é pedra, é o fim do caminho. So
Yeah.
like we're just talking, you know, right? So which is like an arrangement, right? You know, but without still keeping the song there.
I'm interested in the voice leading of Surfboard.
Oh, that's pretty much like classical music. We play it as written, everything.
Can you show
We
me
don't do
the
anything.
beginning, what's happening in the middle voices?
So what? What was it, man?
Yeah, but you do it.
Sorry?
Yeah, you do it
I have to remember it.
in wide intervals. It sounded like,
Yeah, yeah, she does the. We are a tenth apart, no?
that's it. Yeah.
So I do, and she does.
But it was in the
Exactly.
middle.
Like I'm playing like a drop two voicing.
Yeah, and then
I can send you the music. I have it.
yeah. Do it slowly after each other.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's so nice. Yeah. Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like a crossed rhythm, right? Did you notice? It's like it's in 4/4, but it doesn't. The phrases start in different places of the bar.
Yeah.
And then there's a solo in the middle. That's our contribution, like to have a solo in the middle. That
with the minor third apart.
exactly,
It's
and
beautiful.
and it fits perfect for the cello with open strings. With that was so much fun.
That's one of my favorite songs from the album.
Yeah, me too.
And also Imagina. I think that's my. And I didn't know this.
Well,
before.
you know, I was thinking about you. Because on the intro, I played this chord, and I was thinking, oh man, Pablo would play this chord, man. I know it. I don't know what it was. It was like,
yeah. And that's also something that Mompou plays.
Mompou, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mompouian.
I think there's a piece of Mompou where he plays maybe even in this.
That's.
Yeah. So how do
that's
you?
Like.
How would you name this chord?
I guess to make it simple, G something.
G something. That's what you put on the sheet.
No, I didn't make a sheet, but I would maybe G major flat 6.
To me, it's like a C minor major.
Yeah, also
over G.
Yeah, that's or that. Yeah, or C. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but somehow the G sounds like it could also be a tonic chord, no? The G.
Yeah. I mean, it's C minor, which is the 4 minor in G.
Yeah. But somehow, you know, thinking that if I'm writing a chord symbol, I wanna tell whoever's gonna read it that it's G with extensions. It's not like, don't think about the 4 chord as being, you know, somehow. But you can, your ears will tell you.
Yeah.
But it's funny that I got into Mompou because of you, man. You show many people about Mompou, and it's from Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an important person for me, composer, and also pianist. The way that he plays, I love the way. Like nobody does this. When he plays chords, where he plays like. You know. And also, what's the he does this thing where he gets kind of, it's almost like Erogana.
Off.
Wow. When it's written down as chords, but the way he plays them is like and I just love that. This is so specific. But yeah, I think when was the first time did we meet? We met in Köln the first time you came to my apartment.
Before we met in Zurich, remember we played a outside concert?
Of course.
Was that the first time, maybe?
I just
I think
remember
so.
you being at my apartment and we talked about Mompou. And that was my old apartment. That was the apartment. So that must have been before 2012, and our concert in Zurich was in 2015.
I've never been. I never been in Cologne in 2012, man.
Man, then I'm imagining things.
But I remember my space. That's for sure, man.
Yeah.
I that was amazing. That you sent me a message there. I was like, wow, this amazing piano player is listening to my stuff.
MySpace, that was
Wow,
the shit.
I was. Yeah. That's when we met.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was checking out
And
the.
you asked me for Moon Dreams, right?
Exactly, yeah. I was going to ask you again about Moon Dreams.
I wish I could play it, man. I would play it for you, but I don't have the. I have to find the music. But
Yeah, that's what you told me
our
last
love
time.
for Gil, no? Gil Evans.
Yes.
It's like there's another Gil Evans freak out
Oh,
there.
yes. Yes. Yeah, and also that's exactly, you just said the sentence that was in my mind when I heard you playing Moon Dreams the first time, like, wow, there's another one who actually goes, I mean, you went even farther than I ever went, like I never transcribed the whole thing from Gil Evans. And you took one of my favorite arrangements of his and just played the whole thing in trio, and it sounded so full, it sounded so rich. And then
it's
I
funny.
was like, I need to reach out to this person, not only to get this transcription, but also to. I'd been in love with your playing from the Wicca album and the Metamorphosis trio album. I was like, that's also the whole point of this podcast. If I love something, I want to be close. I want to be close to that person, that music, and learn from it. And it was the same feeling, yeah. When I heard this,
Likewise, man.
what did you learn from Gil
I
Evans?
from Gil.
Yeah,
Uh, I guess it's also related to Mompou. It feels like time stops in
Yeah.
a way. So that's it's something that makes you feel good instantly because it's music anti-stress, no? Anti-stress music that helps you calm down and not and live better life. I think in my case at least, because I just hear the love in his music for people in the band enjoying playing lines, like different lines, and meeting together in beautiful moments. That's like not many people do it, no? To that extent of there's nothing left to, everything is taken care of, like loved and well thought. And did you hear that story? You probably know the story about someone that lived, a neighbor of Gil, in the famous house where he lived, where all the musicians hanged, that this guy left home and heard Gil practicing a movement between two chords. I don't know, it could be you know that one?
Yes.
Could be that, so
Las
he
Vegas
went
Tango,
back at
or
night.
what's the name?
Yes, I think so. He went back home and he was still playing the same thing. So he's like, Gil, man, what's how come you playing this for so long? It's like, I'm just trying to hear how every note moves to the next,
Yeah.
just really hear it, so I don't know, I'm also like into piano players that don't fill up the chords too much, so sometimes, like, so I can hear the voice leading of the notes going to the next, you know. And,
Yeah.
I guess that's like a classical harmony that we were talking before. Of course, it doesn't have to be like that all the time, you know. It can. I also like broken, freer music too, but that's what gets me on mostly, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what Gil is just as we said, mimicking Gil in a sense of getting in trance just with playing two chords one to the next, getting into the sound of that. That's you get in the zone right away, and you get in a zone of meditation or you know, just listening.
If you had to pick one album that of his work, could also
I love
be
the duo with Lee.
I
love that record, man. I listen to that a lot. I love his piano playing.
Yeah.
I wish he did more records. And
took me a long time to the Steve Lacy duo is also great. Took me a long time to appreciate this kind of piano playing. You know, I was a bit of a snob. There's this mean term where we call something like that composer's piano. You know what I mean? It's mean.
Yeah.
It's mean. But I've come to realize that this way of piano playing, like Count Basie and Gil Evans, Duke also sometimes, they played what actually made sense to play with a big band. Oftentimes, I felt in a big band was, I can't really play. There's so much harmony around me. There's so much stuff, you know. I can't play, you know, me. And then you hear like something like this. And of course, this makes sense to play when all of that stuff is, you know, happening around you. What those guys play or stuff like that. You have to adjust to this environment, and that's what those guys did brilliantly. On top of course, being geniuses and great writers and stuff like that, but the way that they play piano in a big ensemble like that, I couldn't get it at first. I thought, what are they doing? You know, that's me as a teenage snob. You know, it's not as great as Herbie. You know, and it feels bad to say it like that, or I feel ashamed of this way of thinking.
They also, as you said, you know, when you hear a big band, then all of a sudden you hear the piano in their arrangements take the spot. It's like a show. You're watching a very entertaining arrangement and show where things are happening, and then all of a sudden piano trio, you know. So I never quite liked the big band arrangements where the piano is always playing doubling parts and stuff. So you know,
me neither.
Duke never, Gil Evans never does that.
No,
they never double the stuff because they are so short. It sounds so great without doubling. Like sometimes, you know, people double with the piano to help the chords come out and sound blended. But it's like maybe it's because you should write it differently to make it sound without the piano helping, no?
Oh, yes. Do you want to play one more song?
You know this composer, this guy, I can read the lyrics. You know Labi Cifre?
No.
I just discovered this. Let me see. Send me a picture of the way you look. I'll get me a hammer and a little black book. Write me a letter just as long as you please. I'll keep it in my pocket till I know I'm gonna sneeze. I know you wanna make it up, but it's too late. You wanna get me in a corner, kinda smother me with love, but it's too late. I've just just about had it up to here. Can you leave me alone about 1,000 years? You say you're coming Sunday, gonna ring my bell. You know what you can do, babe? Go to hell, nothing you can do and you can't say. Gonna make me change the way I feel today. I know you wanna make it up, but it's too late. You wanna get me in a corner, kinda smother me with love, but it's too late. I just about had it up to here. Can you leave me alone about 1,000 years? I love this guy.
Wow.
Lavi Cifre.
Okay,
Nice stuff, no?
yeah, that's really cool. These are the
I
harmonies
love
that
how
he's
it
playing.
keeps going up, yeah.
Wow.
Too late. He keeps going up and up. He's got some amazing tunes.
What is the record that we need to check out? Okay, cool. Great.
You were talking with Larry Goldings about Shostakovich on one of the meetings. But man, I don't know if you guys know this.
Yeah, I somehow...
Not the Preludes and Fugues, not the few Preludes and Fugues, just the Preludes, the 24. Because it's very short pieces. These ones, Opus 34.
Yeah.
Man, this
Do you
is
want to
really
play
happening.
something?
Yeah, sure. Let me play a slow one.
Wow.
Many of these ones, it's like, where does it come from? This
Exactly.
music?
That's the question. It goes like all kinds of places that are always unexpected. Wow. What is there a recording
34.
that Opus 94 you said?
34.
34. What's the recording
Yeah.
that you like?
Was a Russian pianist, but I have it on CD. I don't remember the name
Yeah.
of the piano player.
Mhm.
But this has been recorded quite a few times, all of
Mhm.
these preludes. They're short.
Yeah.
They're fun. They are fun to play.
Yeah. Sounded great, Albert. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. But Shostakovich is another guy that it's lines, just making harmony.
Yeah.
Sometimes like totally unrelated, but they sound incredible, especially for orchestra music. Wow.
Let's continue this when we see each other next
Thank
time.
you, Pablo.
Hey man, it's been a pleasure
It's
to have you on
so
the
inspiring
podcast.
to see your your podcasts.